A lot of times you might come across somebody who seems like the perfect friend, or maybe you've met someone new who seems like a very promising romantic partner. They really sweep you off your feet. Or maybe you have someone in your life, it could be a family member, who you think is someone trustworthy that you can go to when you have problems, and that they're a reliable sounding board if you ever need them to be. But occasionally, the people who play these roles, someone who you considered in very high regard, and you put them on that pedestal to the point where you relied on them, sometimes they disappoint. And of course, when that happens, it doesn't feel great. I mean, on the one hand, you don't want to be a burden on other people. So sometimes if something doesn't go right in a relationship, it's your own fault. But other times you have someone who very soon you start to realize that that person makes you start to constantly doubt yourself. Maybe they make you constantly start to feel not so much of high worth. Maybe they affect your self-esteem. A lot of people, and it's not just narcissists, but other people who have this kind of manipulative, toxic nature where they kind of see other people from the perspective of how they can use that person without reciprocating. If you get too close to somebody like that, and again, it can be family, friend, etc., very soon you find yourself in this bond with a person, and you become chronically in self-doubt. You become chronically unsure of yourself. Because a lot of people, especially people who have, who have certain complexes where maybe they don't feel great themselves, maybe they feel their own shortcomings that they don't know how to deal with or process, they like to salt and pepper certain people in their lives with doubt. They like to salt and pepper certain people in their lives with these kind of comments and thoughts, and they take certain actions, which it's like they've planted these seeds in your mind that they know will germinate into something doubtful within you, because they know you well enough to know where they can plant those seeds of doubt. And it's almost like if they can have that kind of control over you, that kind of ability to keep you in this state where you question yourself, that they feel better in their own skin because it uplifts them. People who don't have a real high sense of self-worth, but who overcompensate and want to feel that way, the only way you can have your cake and eat it, the only way you can make those two extremities meet, on the one hand, them feeling low worth, but wanting to believe they're high worth, is by depressing other people, and by witnessing that, they feel better about themselves. So most people are not like that. Most people don't ruthlessly use you to feel better about themselves. Most people are at least somewhat trustworthy. However, if you have a big peer group, a big social group, a big family, no doubt you're going to have people like that in your lives. And the problem that so many people face is that sometimes the people who have been the closest to you, sometimes the people who you think are the last people that you want to turn your back on, are the people that make you feel like that. And the point there is, if somebody's chronically making you feel low, chronically making you feel on edge, then you do need time and distance away from that person. And sometimes going no contact, going just focusing on everything else you have going on but that person or those people, is really the only way you can, it really is the only way that you can exterminate those chronic feelings of doubt that you've been having for a long time and you don't really know where they were coming from. You know, this low self-worth where if you're trying to fly high and feel good about yourself, but there's always somebody chipping away at your foundation. It's kind of like when your roots are growing, when you're starting to flower, somebody always throws in a bit of venom to kind of take you down a step, take you down a notch, take you down 2 notches. When they do that consistently, you're stumped. You've limited yourself. And you can't really expose yourself to that on an ongoing basis and not be affected by that. Because again, certain people need to feel good about themselves. And then the worst thing, of course, is when you detach and go no contact from people like that. And sometimes they get angry. They get angry for many reasons. One is they feel abandoned by you. You know, how could you? For all they've done, right? It's funny how the people who are the most toxic towards you are the ones where, when you're not really giving them attention anymore, they pretend like they've done more for you than anybody else. That in itself is a red flag, because people who are not toxic, who aren't controlling and dominating in that way, if you need space, they'll respect it. But people who feel the need to make a point about it, like, how could you, after everything I've done for you? That's a major red flag. But it's not just that sense of abandonment they feel. The loss of control over you and the loss of the ability for them to make themselves feel of high value by making you doubt yourself, by making you feel like a low-value person. The fact that they can't depress you to feel better about themselves anymore, that hurts a lot, because maybe you entertained them for a while because you saw something valuable in them, or at least you thought, so you ignored certain behaviors for a long time. And if you're the kind of person who put up with that for a long time, then chances are you have certain unhealed traits, maladaptive traits within yourself. But a lot of people don't have those material. I mean, everybody's had certain traumas in their life. Everybody's had certain negative things happen. You know, it's called life. But most people don't have such severe traumatic wounds or such severe issues, personal issues, that they find themselves being susceptible to people who can use them on an ongoing basis. And the fact that you were means that if they lose you as somebody to kind of control their emotions by casting doubt on you, it's not always easy for them to replace that. And if you're with a narcissist, for example, as a primary supply figure, then it can be quite extreme, because they depended a lot on you to regulate themselves. But even like when it comes to friends and people who depend on you a bit less, it still hurts them. And if you actually go no contact, and if you actually stop talking to them altogether, then that can be really confusing. That can cause them to feel very angry. That can cause them to want to smear you to other people, just because they feel that they've been wronged. Because people who don't really care about you or others and make you feel bad, for them that's a non-matter, because they don't have empathy. They don't see your feelings as even a factor. But if you do something to make them feel bad, all they see is that they felt bad. They can't really acknowledge that they made you feel bad. So that's why they feel like the victim. Because no matter what happens to you, it's a neutral event. If something happens to them, it's good or bad. And if it's bad, all they see is that they've been hurt and nothing bad's happened to you, even if a lot of bad has happened to you because of what they've done. So you can't keep people in your life who chronically keep you down, because people are going to try. You can't keep people in your life who chronically make you doubt yourself. You can't keep people in your life who chronically are not letting you live up to your potential. And when you identify people like that, and it can take a long time, then you do need to distance yourself. You do need to focus on things that actually put you back on the path you want to be on. And if the person gets angry, if the person rages, that's not your problem. Maybe it does mean you have to put higher boundaries in place, and maybe there's a lot of learning to come with how to not give in to the temptations of them wanting to kind of make a way back into your life. But you'll learn how to do that too. Thanks for watching.